So we're really excited to be here to launch this report around second cities. And I couldn't help but notice, as Adrian opened up, all the references are references to cities outside of this continent. Think about that for a moment. And it's not just Adrian. It's when we talk about second cities, when we often talk about these principles, we reference them outside of this continent. And I hope, if nothing else, this report will actually highlight the importance and the prevalence of second cities and the massive importance they have on this continent. Now, I'm lucky. I look after Sub-Saharan Africa, so it's 51 countries, and I've just been, for my sins, given Mauritania as well, so soon will be 52 of these countries. And I haven't been to Mauritania, but I've been to roughly about 40 of the other countries. And here's the interesting thing that I'm noticing on my travels. If I dial this back, when I started traveling this continent, which was probably back in 1996, we didn't talk about second cities. You went to a Lagos, or you went to a Cairo, or you went to an Accra or a Dar es Salaam. Now, when you engage in conversation, for a number of reasons, if you talk about Namibia, Walvis Bay, and the importance of Walvis Bay in light of the energy find that you have there. You talk about Mwanza in Tanzania and how incredibly difficult it is to link that city with logistics, but the important role that it's playing in that economy in terms of the mining that activities that's on the go there. So that's part of it, and of course with that you get the urbanization, and it's fascinating if you read the report how the urbanization, the growth in the second cities is actually faster than the growth in terms of the population. So it gives you a little bit of an indication of the importance of these second cities. Now, there's a fantastic opportunity for us in these second cities, and there's a fantastic opportunity for Africa in these second cities, because if we get them right, if we get the planning and the development right, it'll help the growth of this continent immensely. But there's another element to it. If you think about our demographic dividend on this continent, it is our youth. Now, it's estimated that about 70% of the population in Africa at the moment is below the age of 30. It is estimated that by 2030, 42% of the world's youth, and that's between the ages of 15 and 24, will be on this continent. Now, therein sits your demographic dividend. But only if we make sure that it's an engaged part of the population. And how do we engage them? We make sure that through our development of the second cities, we create a space where they can prosper, where it's healthy, where it's an opportunity to kind of do that quantum leap that we so often do in Africa if you talk about sustainability. And think about if we get that planning right. Now, we've got some great stories. If you look at Asia Pacific, if you read the report, if you see what has happened to the income per capita and how that's grown when they got the development of their second cities right now. Ours is a little bit of a mixed picture in Africa, and it's all in there. But my point is it's not without its challenges. And I hope what this report will highlight and what will give us an opportunity to do is to avoid some of the pitfalls that we've seen. I spoke to Adrian earlier on about Antananarivo. I don't know who here has had the privilege to go to Madagascar and visit Antananarivo. Major city, no planning, absolute chaos on the best of days. So a wonderful example and pitfalls that can be studied, that can be avoided. And I hope part of what we'll achieve in this report is to highlight some of those and give a few ideas around that. Now, from a DHL perspective, as Adrian said, we've been on this journey now for probably about 2 odd years. And the importance of this for us has been highlighted as we see more and more development in the energy sector on this continent, because 10 out of 10 times it's on the outskirts, it's in the rural areas. And you understand the importance of these second cities to actually be that link between the rural area and the main cities. And not just in terms of the population, not just in terms of what happens on the ground, but also logistically. I was just giving the example of Tanzania, sorry, to Francois actually earlier on. Town is booming. Mining industry is what's driving it. Almost impossible to link that city logistically. You know, what do you do? It's at the end of the Victoria Lake, on the southern end of the Victoria Lake. If you drive, if you transport the shipments via truck, well, that can take you 4 days. I can't land a plane then. We're fortunate enough to have our own air fleet. But you can't land a plane that is sufficient to support that industry because of the limitations of door sizes. And also, there's not enough flow of traffic. So from a DHL perspective, you know, that's what occupies many of our boardroom conversations at the moment, is how do we logistically play our role in the development of these second cities, and how do we link that to the broader economies. But a wonderful opportunity for us that sits in all of that. And I think I'm going to conclude there, Francois, and just to say a massive thank you to the GIBS Centre for Africa Management and Markets, Adrian, Francois, and Ian. It's a wonderful piece of work. Read through it, and I see there's been a bit of poetry, and I see there's reference to Cinderella in there and all sorts of things. So it's not just data, there's a bit of poetry in there as well. So with that, thank you very much.